My name is Rui Ribeiro, and my position and responsibilities, I'm the everything guy. I always had an affinity for woodworking. My father's a carpenter, so I learned the trade. I never really became a pro, but I had enough of a foundation that I kind of had a sense of how things got built. I started the company approximately 10 years ago. This was kind of a startup, and I just rolled with it. I think I gravitated towards millwork because of my history and a family business as well. We focused heavily on custom architectural millwork at first, but there's been a shift towards high-rise residential kitchen and bath. Having worked for a high-rise condominium developer for many years, I feel like I've done enough of it now to understand that I really want to focus and scale the business in this high-rise sector. It's a very important part of our economy here in Ontario, and unfortunately, there's not enough land, so we're building up. This was going to be the niche that we were going to target and expand into, and so we've been doing that. A lot of challenges, both on the business end and lacking experience, real experience in the woodworking industry, and taking on work that would require experience was really challenging. Fortunately, we've always had employees that are experienced and knowledgeable, and they brought that with them. But what we were finding is that everybody builds a little differently. Anything that can be left to interpretation will eventually be left to interpretation, be interpreted a certain way. And what we found is at one point we had 4 cabinet makers working in the shop, and they were all working on one project and all interpreting certain details a little differently. And I think it was then that it clicked for me that I'm relying on individuals who think independently and therefore will push out what could be considered or interpreted as 4 different standards. We needed to standardize. I had some experience with a subscription-based software. I didn't really buy into it too much. I found it difficult to use. Support was lacking. And so that was my first experience, and it wasn't a very good one. I was brought Microvellum as an option. We looked at it, there was a demonstration. I was pretty happy with it. It was maybe a little on the expensive side, but now that we've been running it for a few years, it was all money well spent. And it's doing everything we needed to do, both custom and production work. Small little details like lock placements, pull placements, interpretation on, say a miter fold or what have you, for example. We have a lot less of those challenges now with Microvellum because every change we make, we can document and save in perpetuity, and we can really, grow a database of best practices, doing more work with the same or less energy, and standardize everything we do. You can't afford to make mistakes. You're only profitable if you build it right the first time and you don't trip over yourself. So Microvellum is helping us to do that because we save templates, and then when we find we have to tweak something, we tweak the template. So we change the cookie cutter. You can't fix the cookie, but if you fix the cookie cutter, it works, and it works really well. So every time we find a mistake, we fix it. We never make that mistake again. And we find that Microvellum with templates, pushing those templates forward, works really, really well. And it makes life really easy. From a production perspective, we couldn't ask for it to be any easier. I can't imagine how it could be easier. The user interface I find is really, really good. Working in that AutoCAD space, AutoCAD is not just an industry standard, it's a worldwide standard. So you get to work in an environment that a lot of other people are accustomed to and understand. I think anyway, for new users, if you get somebody who knows AutoCAD, they're gonna have a really easy time adapting to Microvellum because they're working in the same space. The library was great, over 300 products. I became a cabinet maker without ever really having much experience on the floor at all. Microvellum just made it that much easier. From a software perspective, I think we're pretty well set. I know it's not perfect, but with the help of Microvellum, I feel like we can set up an architecture and a structure that works. I always want us to be better first and then grow. As we started to use Microvellum from 2018 on, we started to see the flexibility and what we could do with it to scale the business. We're doing a lot more work today, and we're pushing it out a lot quicker, and it's a lot more accurate. The work was always out there, fortunately, so we've been blessed in that regard. We always kept it small and tried to grow organically and not try to force it too much. I think that I have an idea in my mind as to where I'd like to take the business and make it sustainable. And this all comes together really well for my business and Microvellum. I feel like I need Microvellum there with me to be able to be successful. I think it's going to be our solution for some time.